Hey guys, Conceptual Concept 6.9 here in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. Now, I am doing a rifle build overview. This is my Gordon adjacent carbine, more like Great Value version, but it's kind of a cool retro build. A lot of things I didn't quite keep clone correct because there are quality of life improvements I really like with the AR-15, as well as I really didn't want to dump, several grand into this rifle when I could build out something similar, something that gives the vibes, but not the exact gun, right? So, without further ado, let's get started. So we'll go tip to butt like Flannel Daddy always does. Starting with the suppressor. This is a Griffin Armament GP5 suppressor. Actually sounds fantastic. It's got great noise, but it's got a good tone, but it is a little gassy. I am getting gassed out pretty good when I shoot this rifle. Now the height over bore definitely helps, so big win there. Sounds great. Uses A2 flash hiders, which is why I went with it. I really wanted to be able to outfit multiple guns with this can without having to dump hundreds of dollars on muzzle devices. So this can, really cool. Would recommend. However, the gate lock system is a little nicer than this. So next up, we're going to be getting into the barrel. Now this is a 10.3-inch Aero precision barrel. Honestly, I'm not super impressed with this barrel. This is hands down the least accurate AR-15 I own. I'll roll in some footage right now.
All right, so let's try some accuracy testing on this guy. Green tips first.
So this group was shot at 50 yards, and as you can see, it's a pretty abysmal group. It is between roughly 3.25 MOA to 4 MOA, and that's about what I've come to expect out of this rifle.
Right, so next we're going to go ahead and switch to the 77 grain OTM match, see if we can group it a little tighter.
So next up is the 77 grain OTMs, and you will notice really quickly that this is just slightly better, but it's still at best a 3 MOA group. Now, this is pretty consistent every time I shoot this rifle, so I think it's just the Aero barrel with the combination of the non-free float handguard.
Now for the light, I am running an Impact Weapon Solutions mount. It mounts onto these retro handguards just fine. It uses these venting holes to clamp in. And I've got a Surefire dual fuel here. 1500 lumens, all flood, no throw. Probably wouldn't recommend it. Now I am using a Hollow Sun cap to try and mitigate ADs of white light, but it's coming loose. I'd recommend going with 100 Concepts personally, just because they're just better than this solution. Not a huge fan. Past that, I'm using the, I think it's the UE7 tail cap. I'm able to manually override the switch here and run the light through that, as well as I have the tape switch here taped on with some goon tape. I actually really like this. I set my lights up where I have to consciously move back to hit the switch. That way it reduces chances of NDs, because NDs are not a great option there. So when I'm activating my white light, I have to reach back and press it like so. So for the red dot, I am using a Aimpoint Pro. Now the Aimpoint Pro is a pretty handy little optic. Not great for night vision, but it's a newly manufactured Comp M2 style optic. Gives the retro vibes. I know it's not clone correct, but it works just fine. Now, the height over bore on these guys, what's old is new again. It's very similar to the 226 risers. Now for the upper, I've got a Bushmaster upper here. This is the A2 style. One of my friends had it in an ammo can, so I lucked out. He sold it for me for I think $100, which is a steal. Now, again, this isn't clone correct. I don't care. I'm just going for the vibes. I'm not trying to make a clone correct Gordon carbine or even really keep in the exact same lane there, just for the vibes here. Now this, I believe, is an arms carry handle rail, which I have the aim point mounted to. held up incredibly well. Now, I did strap wrench this bitch on, so I don't think it's coming off anytime soon. Now for the lower, I am running an Aero Precision lower here. I don't recommend going any higher or lower than Aero Precision. Their machining is very clean, unlike Anderson. All the specs are true. I haven't had any issues with any of the ones I've put together or dealt with. And if you're spending more, you're scamming yourself, man, because a lower is a lower for the most part, past the machining. Now, there are exceptions, there are outliers. I don't want to talk too much trash, because if you're going with something ambi or gives you extra features past the mil spec, definitely spend the money. But if you're just doing mil spec, just do an Aero. I hate to say it, it's just as good because it follows all the right machining. Everything's to spec. We're good to go. Why spend more money? Now, there are some quality of life improvements I've made to this rifle. Most people will notice this very easily. Biggest one is the charging handle here and the grip. So I absolutely hate T-charging handles. I think they're absolute dog water. You can fight me on that. But I did do an Aero breach just to make quality of life a little better, because the standard mil-spec charging handle is trash. Past that, I did do a BCM grip. Reason why is I like more vertical grips. I really hate the A2, and because I actually shoot this thing fairly regularly, I want it to be semi-comfortable. So I went with that. But what I didn't do is I didn't upgrade the safety. It is just a standard safety. I didn't upgrade the bolt release here, and I didn't upgrade the trigger. So that's all mil spec, but still shoots incredibly well. So we're moving back to the buffer tube area. Let's start with the end plate. I am using a PWS ratcheting end plate and castle nut here. I really like this. Huge quality of life improvement. You don't have to stake anything to keep it on, but you can remove it really easily. It also comes with a QD slot here, so making slinging your rifle a little bit easier. Now inside, because I am an AK shooter for the most part, I did do an Armaspec Stealth H2 buffer system in here, which gets rid of that spring noise that you get with most AR-15 springs. It kind of drives me nuts. Just a little pet peeve, not a huge deal, but the Armaspec has been holding up incredibly well. It does get rid of that noise, which makes me incredibly happy. And lastly, I've got a Car 15 stock from B5. Now this thing is a little loose. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's like a maraca here. Now it does have a short length of pull, but it is very compact, very handy. Now this is definitely the favorite AR-15 I own. It just scratches that retro vibe, but has just enough modern accessories to make it a little more comfortable. So if you like this video, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to comment your favorite AR-15 barrel length, that would be fantastic, because size does matter. Now, past that, just go outside, touch grass, and eat ass, all right, guys?